for Noguri on our DAMWON side in game number 1, and then Summit straight up belted him on that Urgot.
Canyon did well in game number 2 on the Aatrox, so you could just lock it in and work it out later.
Yeah, go for a bit of the
if you're DWG Gaming. First round Draven ban against Sandbox. I'm liking the first round bans against some players. We've seen Sandbox first round ban Vladimir. We've seen DWG Gaming first round Vlad the Draven. Especially in game number 3, as things move forward, you're going to have to be bold at some point, and only so many people can get counterpick on the red side. So given all of this, first round Draven ban, Sandbox Gaming, they will not ban the Vladimir. They will just stick with the Akali ban in first round.
Yeah, and we're going to stick with the first pick. Aatrox here from DWG Gaming as well. Akali was the first pick for Sandbox in game number 2, but now is unavailable based on that last ban that has come in. But as far as the bans that did happen in game number 1, Tahm Kench available again, Kai'Sa available, and that is going to be it.
So this feels like Kalista Thresh then, on the side of Sandbox Gaming. The Thresh first picked here, you could take Kalista at Dove's pick and then ban away Nocturne. Obviously it could be Aatrox jungle, but that's of course what you're thinking of there. That was the hard engage comp we've seen do very well against Kalista. Thresh is the ultimate go-to for Dove. As we talked about first round top lane picks for Noguri, first round Jace, both to deny a Jace coming through from Noguri. It is Noguri's most premier pick, so much of this Jace. This is a really fun little mind game by Sandbox.
Well, DWG actually thinking of giving up on any pick-away opportunity. Of course, the Nocturne could be grabbed in this round to deny the Kalista pickup, but Ezreal just going to be taken away, and that's the Galio for DAMWON this time. 2 games in a row for Joker, but obviously he doesn't even want to be playing it as the Thresh was locked in, and here's that Kalista Thresh that you were talking about, now with the opportunity of banning away the Nocturne.
And that's why I love Game 3s 3 weeks into the season. You can make educated predictions on tendencies, and Sandbox, because they lost, want to fall back to a duo that works and want to do it at this spot because they can ban Nocturne if they want. They've left Nocturne open before after going into Kalista Thresh, but really nicely done here by Sandbox. They've gotten something on the red side that's pretty unanswerable. It's very hard to find a duo and even a team comp that guaranteed beats Kalista Thresh.
Well, Sejuani going to be banned away here on the side of DWG Gaming. And do Sandbox actually decide to put that ban into the Nocturne? Remembering both of our other games, Nocturne has been banned in patch 9.2, where it is more difficult to get to that paranoia. Maybe an opportunity for the Kalista to survive a little bit better, but no, they are going to go to what has been working against Kalista in the past and ban the Nocturne this time.
And that's the thing, is what if you didn't Atlas and you lost a Nocturne? You feel so sheepish. Everything else, you've got a Jace takeaway, you've got Kalista Thresh, and then you lose to Nocturne comp, then that's just actually egg on your face. So I like the fact they double down, they ban the Nocturne. So far the ban has gone to our expectation based on our read of where Sandbox is at. But second round here can be pretty bizarre. Sandbox haven't committed to the role of the Jace necessarily. There's a small chance OnFleek puts us in the jungle. Remember, as jungle Jace has been played a lot by Tarzan and a smattering by our other mechanical junglers, so we don't know anything for certain. This would be the confirmation. This would be a takeaway from Canyon, as Galio and the Kha'Zix have good synergies, and Canyon's most played has been Kha'Zix. Instead, they play around with the heartstrings and lock in Lee Sin.
Yeah, 3rd game in a row here for OnFleek. We'll be jumping back on the Lee Sin. Looked fantastic in game number 1, but couldn't get anything done in game number 2, but no one could, to be perfectly honest. And DAMWON now have to round out their roster with their last couple of picks. What do they decide to go with, and where will this Galio be going? Rakan locked in. All right, so that means that Galio is going into a solo lane, and Hoyt is back on his favorite champion, but has to deal with some pretty heavy nerfs.
Yeah, I got to look around the DAMWON side of the audience. Everyone's gasping a bit and whispering, because of course everyone knows about the Rakan nerfs. You know who didn't get nerfed? It's Vladimir, and we're going to the famous Noguri Vladimir on the side of DAMWON game.
Yeah, that is going to be once again the Aatrox in the jungle. But this will be the confirmation that Galio will be mid lane and Vladimir will be top lane, because there's no way you have a Vladimir on your squad with Noguri there and don't give it to him.
And this was a price you had to pay to ban Tahm Kench Nocturne. You couldn't spam bans against Noguri. If you look at the bans here, Akali, a Nogari champion, maybe Cassiopeia, but it's only one true top lane ban on the side of Sandbox. That means that Nogari was sort of able to recreate a red side drop. Now, Jace wins this matchup super hard in the early game until he doesn't. It's always about timings in Jace versus Vlad matchups. Vladimir top side. Now, the engage around the Vladimir isn't as reliable. It's new Rakan, and we have to pause, as it feels like the Rakan has to pause before those engages happen.
Yeah.
Feels like Kalista can hop out of even more of those grand entrances than she could before. Kalista Thresh is primed to do very well in the 2v2, but you see the Vladimir, you remember some of those Vladimir games, and you dare to hope that DAMWON Gaming might be the surprising first team to take a match away from Sandbox Gaming.
Yeah, so let's have a look at these rosters here. Very standard bottom lane for patches gone by. Ezreal Rakan going to be picked up. Hoyt was one of our premier Rakan players. Was so extraordinarily good for DAMWON Gaming. Now paired up with the Ez once again. Showmaker back on the Gargoyle in the mid lane, but after taking a bit of a hit, we'll see whether it's going to be as effective in a lane that can be very difficult, as Dove has jumped on the Zoe that's seen as something you can pick into Galio very reliably.
There is the real potential for 3 pretty significant winning lanes on the side of Sandbox, and it's Sandbox who have been the best about getting early gold and turret plates down next to Griffin. Unflake's not on a level 2 ganker, but if a jungle gank goes well and the lanes fall into expected patterns, who's to say DAMWON Gaming never get their team comp going?
Yep, and he has been able to do it in the past, so let's have a look if he can do it in a game number 3. All right, Sandbox not with quite as many of the fans, but DAMWON with a very impressive amount here at Lowell Park today. And in a game number 3, they're going to need it. Sandbox won game 1, but it was a 40-minute slogfest. Game number 2 barely happened. So DAMWON with a lot of momentum moving into this game 3, but with a different side, might be a different story, because these lanes feel a lot different to what we had in game number 2.
There is huge advantage Sandbox Gaming in the laning phase. Zoe versus Galio, very Zoe favored in the early game. Jace versus Vlad, very Jace favored. Kalista Thresh with bans on top can be big as... Well, that's one way to be quicker.
All right.
Now remember that movement speed scaling with Grand Entrance was also nerfed. In the past, you could go for the boots of mobility, and if you never took damage, you got the percentage scaling with your movement speed. Now it's just flat scaling, so even Predator doesn't have a true interaction with Grand Entrance. So I think we're Predator Flash quickness into Grand Entrance later. Right now, the timings on this Rakan are still going to be very much under the microscope. We're going to continue to learn about patch 9.2, but the lanes here, there is a real chance that that sort of gold lead that we saw from DAMWON Gaming in game number 2 could be recreated by Sandbox Gaming.
But as you can see, already an invade coming in. OnFleek going to be stealing away the blue buff on the other side of the map. Some vertical jungling will ensue afterwards. But we'll see whether Canyon gets 3 buff to start this game off, as OnFleek already playing with a lot of confidence, knowing that he's got a lot of push pressure.
And Atlas, it's exhaust to Rakan as well. The Ignite nerfs are there on patch 9.2. So a less viable 2v2 spell. It's obviously useful, but Ignite is kind of defensive, offensive, very reliably, and Exhaust doesn't get quite the same value. And it's Teleport Ezreal, who doesn't want to be looking for 2v2s, so they have no answering of the health advantages that Heal and Ignite can take. So it's another lane saying, guys, maybe later. Let's see if DAMWON Gaming get through that phase, as Canyon finding something good is so necessary to buy them time.
Yeah, gets the knock up here as OnFleek does safeguard his way out. That will cost him a Rift Scuttler and a whole bunch of his health bar.
Now, how much Rakan W on patch 9.2 have you actually seen in action, Atlas?
Not a massive amount, to be perfectly honest. In my earlobe, people don't really feel confident in playing Rakan.
I'm really excited to see it on screen, because you've seen the GIF, you've heard about it, but it really, really is conspicuous. It feels even worse than the famous Z W change, which before a lot of our viewers even started watching, ZW compared to Rakan feels fast, but back in the day, Zed just leapt across the screen with his living shadow. The nerf felt terrible, and the Rakan nerf feels worse.
Yeah. Well, let's. I'm waiting for the first one. As I remember, Hoyt had so many games in this champion as well, so his muscle memory is going to suffer when that does go off. He's going to go back to base, though, very, very early. See what he's actually deciding to pick up here. There felt like no real reason to go back home. Wants to get the boots and does finally have a keystone.
He wants a keystone, baby. He's got boots. And where is he going? Because it doesn't seem to be bot lane. Teleport Ezreal famously can farm at 1100 range happily with the Mystic Shot. Has no lane presence, but what can Hoyt and Canyon do? Because here's a way to get over the hump of, man, do our lanes suck early. Get some creative ganks off from weird paths with Predator Rakan and an Aatrox, and then maybe, just maybe, you get that gold early enough for your scaling to matter.
Well, the hook's going to land here as the Lantern Ride is in and Nuclear has been ignited. Takes a hell of a lot of damage under this turret. You mentioned the teleport.
Predator!
You have to use it as the Predator does come in. It's a Gleaming Quill that's going to be the result, and not much else.
I don't even know if he's skilled Grand Entrance.
Why would you on this patch? Summit going to take a turret shot.
A famous shielding, healing support champion. Not Sona, Rakan.
Yeah. We all know what you feel about Sona, though, Mr. Sona Abuser in solo queue.
I mean, I feel like she's underappreciated. I actually think there is a world where Sona might become a pro pick, but let's hold that for now. I'm still testing.
Yep, all right, all right. I'll come back to you once you've got full information of whether Edward is now going to come back into the meta as best support.
Well, Aatrox spending a lot of time bot lane for a no summoners Nuclear to help out on. Spotted on Vision.
Yeah, he's going to move on over. The Grand Entrance, oh man, that was real slow, but Joker
Party
still
time!
going to get hit by it, and Showmaker makes his way down here as well as Joker's going the other way. They'll only be getting one kill here, but it's going to be first blood, and it is going to be going over to DAMWON Gaming. Hoyt jumping over that wall with the flash. The Q is going to land, but Joker's taking him on a wild goose chase. Oh man, the slowest over the Grand Entrances, but still able to lock down the kill is the Rakan.
That was a short range one, so you don't notice it as much, but yes, on the slower side, they pick up the kill. Bit of damage over the wall from Nuclear. Cemented the conga line Yakety Sax was very amusing. Onflick's waiting for Hoyt, and he's damn squishy.
Yeah, he's going to slow on that one as the Grand Exit looks even worse than the Grand Entrance, and Dove doesn't find the trouble bubble, so Hoyt will be able to make it out.
We've got a lot going on here. Canyon being engaged onto Onflake, doesn't have one rotation damage.
Yeah, not going to be able to do it just yet, but is going to lock down this Rift Scuttler. Not going to take too many of them now, as W has to be used by Noguri up top side, but this is how we expected this matchup to go. Shock Blast hitting there would have been a disaster for Noguri, who just used his teleport.
But let's think about the Yakety Sax we've seen. A kill goes to DAMWON, unexpected because of the scaling approach all their lanes is taking. And we said 3 winning lanes. We only see 1 going to plan. Only top lane is heavily going the way
used defensively.
Yeah, just for the sustain here.
It's not what you want, but we'll have the Crimson Rush to get his health back up yet again.
Hoyt finds another fire to deal with. Guys, any communication if we get any more specifics about the issue? But back to live. It's been a while.
Here we go. Okay.
So a reminder, DWG Gaming, very, very risky. 3 losing lanes comp that has some very strong mid to late game team fighting with the Vladimir Wombo. Sandbox Gaming, they want to just do their bread and butter, take turret plates, punish the weak early laning phases, and the amount that Hoyt has roamed, it's 7 minutes 50. He's probably been in lane about 2 minutes 50.
Thankfully, he made it to level 4, so that's certainly good news, but you can see Nuclear has been denied a heck of a lot of experience because Ghost is already level 6. And he's been duo laning almost this whole time. Hook, not going to land there from Ghost.
And actually it's pretty relevant on Ezreal because while he has that cheaper build, it's a cheaper build that takes time, and that time hasn't started. The clock is at 0 because there's no tier. Needed Sheen to even be able to trim the wave from range. So this Ezreal is one that, you know, 500,000 gold behind might actually be relevant in the early to mid game, where usually you can kind of grin and bear it as Ezreal.
Well, right now you've got Canyon actually hanging out down here on the bottom side of the map. The Aatrox was thinking about a lane gank, which is not something that you would normally be able to make work, but with 7 CS the lead for Summit, Noguri is in a very nice spot after that flash went down and the extra respect was needed.
Also, especially when you compound that with no turret plates down on mid or top.
Yeah. Just 1 to be taken so far this game on Sandbox's side, which is understandable. It is going to equate for a bit of a lead, though, as Dove's going to land the trouble bubble, and the taunt is going to deny the follow-up damage from anything other than an auto attack.
Hard to extend a lead other than maybe turret plates in mid lane, but this is how the matchup goes when Liandry's is done. Ludens is done. That's where Dove can really make Showmaker hurt. Canyon going to be spotted on a ward.
Yeah, just going to walk straight in, just trying to clean up this minion wave so that they can get So Showmaker are back timing.
And it was Canyon and Hoyt going between lanes. And honestly, Canyon needs to show himself in lanes a lot, whether it's a successful gank or just the ability for one of the losing lane matchups to get a preferential back. Anything like that is big when in equilibrium. Other things being equal, Sandbox Gaming should be extending leads every minute of the first 14.
Well, the thing that I want to bring your attention to is the top lane. Summit has just made his way back to this lane, so can clean out a minion wave. But that lead was basically gone as Nuguri went back, and he has that Fiendish Codex. He's building towards the Kindle Gem with the Ruby Crystal. Vladimir is almost out of the woods as level 9 right around the corner.
It's not like it is a complete bailout, no government bailout even with 2 CDR items, but like you say, level 9 gets better. It is.
That flash still not back off cooldown just yet, meaning that Summit doesn't have the advantage that he otherwise would.
Bleak, we'll see if he has any turret dive attempts here, as you can actually burst Nuguri even before his pool is armed. Nuguri himself, farm, trying to weather that storm, and so far, again, the game being largely even, 800 gold lead, it reads to Sandbox, but I actually side with DWG Gaming, probably deserving to be behind 3,000 to 5,000 gold in the first 15 minutes, and not being behind by any significant margin is advantage DWG Gaming as the game goes on.
Yeah, I think just have a look at those numbers on the towers, guys. If you can see that there haven't been at least 3 or 4 turret plates taken by Sandbox, minimum, absolutely, then this is a lost early game. For this composition, that should be just hard smashing these guys in these lanes.
And then the execution is less reliable in a team fight. Team fight Jace, the Zoes who we've seen pop off if you're Grace, and honestly underperform most of the other Zoes we've had recently.
And Showmaker was one of them that did not find the Zoe performance that they wanted. Nuguri, you gotta get
a lot of Sandbox here.
Happening is okay, that's a level 7, so World Ender is available. Hero's entrance from Showmaker to get him around there as the pull has to be used very early, but Ignite ticking down. DWG Gaming, Nuguri gets all of his health back there, but otherwise a dicey team fight. And
because Zoe does the same mid, no turret plate to punish, so 50-50 between the two teams, which again is fine by the perspective of DWG. Joker walks up, they'll get a Rift Scuttle, and the Rift Herald on the back end will be the sort of early objective that DWG Gaming still can't really fight for.
Exactly. Turret plate being threatened and is going to go down here, so Summit doing his job up there. And if we do the count, I believe that's 2 that have been picked up now.
Might be 2 on the bot side as well. It was very close to the second
3,
one.
so
It is
3.
confirmed.
We need 1 more before we call this a lost early game.
Rift Herald, I
2
think.
minutes to do it.
If you're Sandbox here, you need an early Rift Herald too, so we'll see if they just pop it down the top side. That'd be a good place to go to slow down this laning phase. Here it is, straight off of spawn.
Oh, not going to get that hook there from Joker.
This is really good from Sandbox. This is the moment where the game can really be won or lost. How much can they get?
Yep, teleport going to come in here, but Shelly, she's charging on forward. That's all that money. And 1.5 minutes now before those turret plates are going to fall down, so good timing.
But not ideal to be split between 3 members. You want Jace to pick all of it up, but ever since the range on 9.1 for acquisition was extended, things can be bad. Here's the gank.
Yeah, quickness has been procced, and that looks fast enough on the grand entrance. The Summit comes in with the teleport. Canyon's going to get punished, and DWG Gaming not going to be able to find the gank at all, and Ghost is going to be fine.
They knew the ult was down, and they want more.
Yeah, Hoist's just going to get kicked. On Fleek coming on forward, and Sandbox just using their extra power that they have with these champions, and On Fleek respecting Nuguri, so he isn't going to go down in any trade.
DWG Gaming trying to outnumber, but it's too early. They should not be making these moves when Sandbox is still in a great spot. Canyon thought he had threat in a 2v1, but TP is up, and Canyon had no ultimate. He was used in Vision, that cooldown. Pretty significant early. They come in and just watch how much threat is actually on Ghost. That's ult into Grand Entrance. They get the CC down. Yes, a bit hits, but from there, no more threat from Canyon. And Summit says, I'm a Jace. I got plenty of gold, and they just kill Canyon where he stands.
Yeah, the World Ender just wasn't quite enough, and when you see the quickness Grand Entrance combo working like that alongside an Aatrox, normally you'd feel like an AD carry is dead, but Ghost uses the heal, keeps himself alive. And the follow-up was good from On Fleek as well, so he's now 1-0-0, and the Lee Sin is getting to a way better position, feeling like a lot more at game number 1 than game number 2 on Fleek.
So 14 minutes in, 2,500 gold. To me, that is a little bit below par. It's decent, it's about on point from Sandbox, but it's not the sort of gold lead that could have happened in a different game. DWG Gaming, they still have their top lane turret. It means still a short lane for Vladimir, and it means that his farming can continue. He's got his early core, but no more, so they still don't want a team fight till that first big item purchase is done for DWG Gaming, which might actually be the Void Staff, but perhaps in a game like this, you go Proto Belt into Zonias, your AP total is a bit lower, but your solo death threat also a bit lower.
Valkyrie now has a level advantage here up against Summit. It's getting real scary to be the Jace, who takes that Tides of Blood transfusion combo not as nicely as he'd otherwise want to. On Fleek moving on up, Dove is here as well. They just want to take down this turret as the Q lands. They really want to take out the Sanguine Pool, but he holds onto it for so damn long. Uses it in the end. Q doesn't land as the Hemo play gives the health back. Sandbox should be able to continue the pressure topside.
Dove actually gave up on that play. He could have continued to chase and get a Paddle Star in. Instead pulled away, maybe expecting the Vladimir wouldn't actually be killable.
Hero's entrance was available from Showmaker to get him up towards the top side as well, so maybe they were factoring that in.
Could be. With
Canyon's position on the map unknown.
Again, less threat from this Vladimir than the previous 2 times as in Nogari on the pick.
Conflict spotted here by Canyon, level 8 to the level 9 of the Lee Sin, who picked up that kill earlier on. He is going to easily steal away these camps though, and Umbral Dash is thankfully a little dash, but enough to get out of the way of the extended range of the Q.
For OnFlake to potentially wrap around or hold the minion wave. Seems like the wrap around, but Nogari has confirmation of his position there.
And a 14 CS advantage over the Jace in this lane. Summit not having the game that he wanted. Of course, MVP of game number 1. So much. We've seen Jace's failing a lot more than we otherwise would in lanes where they should be feeling pretty good. Showmaker not going to use the flash there as Dove has to cleanse, gets himself out of the way, and doesn't even have to use the portal jump as in the mid lane. I believe World Enter was actually procced there by Canyon. Yes, it was.
A lot of tools used for very little gain, and they lose TP bot side as well. So, ball in the hands there. DWG Gaming once again trying to bite off more than they can chew. Sandbox can't really take much from it in terms of turret plates. Those have gone away. Can they get Infernal Drake vision lead? As the Infernal Drake should extend the scenarios where Sandbox should find objectives that DWG Gaming is still not fully ready to fight for.
Yeah, and it looks like Sandbox just want to be able to get some more of these turrets, get some more of that global gold, continue that extension of the advantage that they have, unable to actually follow these minion waves further forward. The thing I want to talk about, Papa, is what these compositions are both going to be trying to do in the later stages of the game. I'm looking at a Zoe Jace comp feeling like Siege is going to work out very, very well for a lot of poke that they have available to them, and a lot of disengage options with Joker being able to play further forward, utilizing the ultimate available from Ghost. But I think DWG's going to be happy if you've got them pressed up further forward, because Nogari then gets that free ride into the back line if he gets the right teleport flank or positioning.
The way I like to look at comps like Sandbox is, you can think of it as win lane, win game, because it was 3 winning lanes, right? And we talked about how that goes. But to me, it's kind of like a bridge comp where Kalista Thresh can, given the expected gold lead in the early game around fights over something like an Infernal Drake, do that early game team fighting, but clearly on a purely team fighting scale, you can't deal with backline access and AoE wombo if you're Sandbox gaming. Team fighting wise in the late game, it's definitely a huge advantage, but it's supposed to be, okay, we can actually, with a gold lead, win team fights early, and then in the late game, if we get the Baron, which again, we should have a vision lead because we had 3 winning lanes, we can siege. That's how these comps work. However, they can be at danger of being muddied if you ever make a mistake. If it gets to 30 minutes and you're at even gold, you take the team fight comp in the late game every time from DWG. So it's risky to run comps like this from Sandbox. Traditionally or recently, they've been able to play them out. You make one big mistake, and that big mistake might be now. Things can go away from you.
Yeah, turret's going to come down. 4 members of DWG up towards the top side. It's the quickness. Still works this time. Good knockup from the hero's entrance as Showmaker can't find the taunt target. Trouble Bubbles are now in amongst this fight, but the trade is good for DWG Gaming. The dive forward as Nogari gets exploded. No Hemo Plague to be followed up on this time as Paddle Star does work onto Showmaker, but doesn't get the Trouble Bubble. Can OnFleek do it? Can he make the big kick play? Flash was available, but he didn't have the opportunity.
There's no wombo engage. It was still too early for that, as Nogari found out front row. We back away, Flash up on OnFlake, but no real direction he could pull off the play. Wants to steal away the blue buff, he will.
Yep. And safeguards his way over that wall as well, so everything is fine. DWG lying in wait here, looking for Ghost.
He's actually looking down the lane for one Ezreal here. He's not expecting this.
Yeah, there's the flash in. See you later, Kalista. You are dead this time. Not going to be out. Oh! Survives! What the heck was that? Turns turns it all around, and Sandbox Gaming use their early advantage. It's not over yet, though. The explosion does finally come in as Nogari has to flash to get out, but still, I'll be typing worth to the enemy life in the all chat. On Fleek, trying to jump on top of Summit, doesn't actually need to, has low health bars on DAMWON, and a beautiful play out of Ghost.
Skipping mad at the end and no ability to finish it up because those items aren't there. The damage is lower than they realize. Sandbox Gaming, the damage is going to be done in terms of objectives finally. Second turret of the game. Definitely feeling the fact that the early game was a lot slower for DWG Gaming. An extra 200 damage, things are different. It doesn't come in. And now the goal lead is actually generating at a decent clip by Sandbox.
Oh yeah, let's have a look at this fight one more time. The tower goes down, and DWG, that is an advantage for you guys, but they decide to go further forward because they do have Hoyt, they do have the engage options. Just doesn't quite work out.
Damage out of position on Sandbox, so that's actually a nice assertive first pick, but Nogari just caught in the front line. They have no more chase after Hero's entrance is down on the other players. Watch the replay of this. Ghost comes in with a CS lead, an item lead, gets hit by the stun. Let's watch the end of this play, though. He has someone to heal. The Q was half a Teemo away from just killing Kalista, but then she's able to do her thing in the backline. Nogari cleans up a single kill, but no more. Man, it was so close, but no cigar. DWG Gaming.
Well, what's going to happen now, Papa? Because Ghost is very close to finishing that QSS, now has those two items that a Kalista wants every single game, a 40 CS advantage. I mean, Ghost, I have a feeling that the mouse issues have been resolved, because that was one hell of a play.
There's soon going to be no ability to play Kalista live. It's not quite the Nocturne Galio comp that just deletes Kalista that Gango had to deal with when he played Kalista, but consider in the future, 4-item Vladimir, 4-item Galio burst. How do you actually hop around aggressively and try to get Ren sets when there's AoE damage out the wazoo? You probably don't, right? That's the difficulty there. But now, at these item timings, there's still that possibility. This is the time where Ghost needs to actually hit every one of those passes, min-max his damage in a team fight. No one is stronger on the Rift than Ghost is right now. So he absolutely wants to have no little voice in the back of his head. He needs to actually pilot the next team fight and get that wipe that is potential here for Sandbox Gaming. Otherwise, those item completions are coming. I see the first needlessly large rod of many in the inventory of Nogari.
Yeah, he's looking for that big hat on the top side of the map. That is his build path. He leaves the Fiendish Codex because now he has 40% CDR with his runes, with Transcendence, things like that.
Scaling CDR in the first tree of the base runes as well.
Yeah, the Cosmic Insight giving him that extra 5% availability. So this Vladimir is able to QQQ, and it actually works well. This time around is Ghost, now with his Hurricane, and the QSS is done. Kalista feeling great.
Honestly, there's 3 champions on the side of Sandbox that probably never feel better than they do right now at their current item timings. Jace Lee Sin and the Kalista, I would group into that.
Zoe is also another champion that does thrive on 1.5 items with the Magic Pen as well as the Ludens.
Meanwhile, Vladimir only gets exponentially stronger with every item. His passive guarantees that, and his AoE confirms that as well. The Galio, again, going to be largely about burst. It is patch 9.2. Even the late game burst is still largely there. But these are the resting moments where AoE wombo doesn't matter because the map control was surrendered in the early game.
Well, here's the fight actually. Quickness does tie a couple up as the Kalista is going to die this time. Joker gets a nice triple play, but he's going to follow him. The Oath Sworn going to go into the Death Chamber. And Sandbox, they lose the bottom lane this time. Can they clean up?
And how did that start? That's the question I don't know the answer to, because 2 picks is a very heavy price on the top side of the map, and Kalista especially dying with both summoners. Kick used.
Yeah, kick back onto Showmaker as Onfleek just gets himself taunted and dies. Okay, Sandbox throwing their lives away as Nogari takes a lot of damage here. The pull is going to negate a lot of that damage, but it's not enough. And the CC lasts for too long for that pull to work.
Both sides making some pretty big mistakes. 2 freebies to both teams. Ends up just being 2 for 2 overall. Not sure how that started on the top side, but the ending there was some pretty big mistakes from Nogari again. Been caught with his hand in the cookie jar a couple of times, coming for a late flank and just died where he stood.
He needed to go back anyway. Had a needlessly large rod to buy as, just a face check, Papa.
Face check for a ward. I believe it's actually Kalista putting down the control ward on the more advanced brush. Thank you very much, says Canyon. Dies instantly. Here's the replay, though, of the end. Why does OnFleek go in? Is a question we don't know the answer to.
Sometimes Lee Syndrome needs no explanation.
And this is just bad from Noguri again. He's just really not thinking about where the map state is at and the fact that Jace and Zoe have free farmed. And we talked about how their items never get better. Turns out, definitely good enough to take down Noguri.
Yeah, straight up. But here on the bottom side of the map, the Vladimir does need to clean up this minion wave. So this time, Sandbox have an opportunity to get that vision there for free and for real. And control around the Baron Pit is something that you have to be very careful of for DAMWON Gaming, because Sandbox are not scared of pulling the trigger on that one. I feel like that's why they're so good at playing around these two-item spike type compositions, because at moments like this, they're able to create a game that they can't lose. 3,000 gold, though, is not a big enough lead to deal with this flanking Noguri Vladimir. What they can actually do about it, we'll have to find out.
Oh, actually drawn out of Canyon, was worried about a paddle star. He has to walk up. It means he doesn't have this. He's re-engaging.
Yeah, he's deciding to use it for an engage tool now as the Oathsworn is going to be pulled back. The Kindred, the Kalista, can she actually get any work done in this fight? As Summit just dives on forward, looking to delete Hoyt. Not going to be able to do so, but now Canyon is dead, because there's no opportunity to utilize the World Ender and the flash forward from Showmaker, but it's on to Joker. Can they get anything more as Noguri dives onto Dove in the back line, but the Hemoplague's not going to kill him. Paddlestar also not going to work out. He's going to be there. Tides of Blood doing some work as Noguri's able to dance around, but Ghost doing the same thing. The Ren not going to get the first kill, and the trade is going to come in. Nuclear also now able to get the DPS through, but DAMWON Gaming not going to be able to get anything more.
Ghost thought the game was on the line there. Thought they get a couple of kills, a Baron, and close it out. It doesn't happen. Nuclear actually takes him down where he stands. Every fight that goes even brings on a time where team fights will be much less even because of DAMWON Gaming's comp, and it all starts in just full panic stations on the side of DAMWON. Canyon has to pop his ultimate there because he's afraid of just being one-shot if he doesn't pop it. They re-engage, but Galio doesn't use Hero's Entrance. They don't want to engage. They know there is no death cap onto Noguri, so a lot of indecision on the side of DAMWON Gaming. Meant the Sandbox were ripe to take down a fight at one of the last few junctures where their team comp can actually find isolated members, burst one down, and reload and reset again and again. Not quite the damage on Noguri to take down the Zoe in the back line. We're so close. The forecast was there for rain, and damn can we see the rain clouds, but nothing started just yet, and both teams still dead at Dream.
Yeah, this is really, really scary, but what the result was, what it felt like to me, 3-0-3 now on Nuclear. This guy is getting to the point where the Ezreal scaling factor is not going to be an issue. He's almost got that double tier stacked up to the Seraph's Embrace as well as the Muramana. Ezreal hitting that late game timing very, very nicely, and Ghost, so short range against this composition is very scary. Sandbox's window feels like it's closing faster than we may have predicted.
Again, it wasn't scary until now. Now it really feels scary. Now you have to really second guess your positioning and be happy you are able to maintain your flash in the next team fight. Because actually, Sandbox Gaming's comp, when it got to the point that we're at, about 27 minutes, the best thing to do is put down as many control wards around the Baron and then hit that trouble bubble and delete one. Because your Baron's secure with Kalista and then the Jace potentially to group in and do damage. You want to group and then lay down, poke and turn pick by picking someone when they try to contest the Baron. 50-50 team fights, we're probably, like you say, at the point where DAMWON wins at least 7 out of 10. And that number only goes up. They continue to poke around. DAMWON aren't able to get vision. That's the hard part still for DAMWON Gaming. But they can kite upwards, put down their own wards, and make Sandbox accountable.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get at least vision control, but the Baron has been started. And Noguri's happy to tank it as well. He's got so much ability to regen his health. Sandbox moving on over half the health bar now on this Baron buff. And like you say, Hoyt looking for it, gets in there. Grand Entrance doesn't work. As the Battle Dance means that the quickness doesn't do anything. Summit into the backline this time is looking for that deletion, but he is taken down instead. They're going to trade back as Ghost is dancing around the fight, but that Ezreal that we were talking about, so much damage availability, and Joker is going to be traded. This backline dive on Summit looks so close to being good.
And Hoyt trips on the way to the engage, but doesn't matter. Vladimir was able to put down Hebenblade. The team turns on to Summit, and Joker in the front line easily take him down. That's the confirmation. The Sweet Hat was there, Atlas, and the Sweet Hat means that Sandbox need to be creative. And On Fleek waiting for such a creative move.
Well, Dub looking for his engage opportunity. On Fleek as well, you can see just the kick is what he wants, but Noguri is not the target that he wants to hit with it. He's going to do so anyway. That's a weird fight to take. I would not be fighting that wizard Vladimir with his Sweet Hat. Sandbox now going back to their natural habitat, which is the Baron Pit.
Honestly, that's really their only win condition at this point is control Baron area and turn and pick. That's really all they can do because the ease of execution by Noguri against this comp is very high. Smite is going to be claimed by Canyon. Doesn't go to the Galio, but Smite is claimed. They have to make this game about Baron, so it plays into Sandbox. They run at it. How will DAMWON play this? Hemo Plague back off cooldown.
Well, Vision's certainly available here for DAMWON. That is very late teleport, though, as the Ren stacks are sticking in there, and Ghost has decided to commit. On Fleek's there. They do take it down, and the safeguard is beautiful. Flashes over the wall as Dove, the only one to be traded, and Sandbox will take that any day of the week.
They needed to be assertive. That was the right move. Roll the dice. If not now, then never. They get the Baron kind of against the expectation of the game. With the items coming in, TP too late from Noguri. Sandbox dare to dream they can go into that big matchup later this week against Griffin, 5-0.
Exactly. They are going to take a couple of games at least, as now the engage comes down. Canyon wants to deliver a gargoyle into the backline, and this time, Hoyt gets the quickness. The grand entrance is looking pretty damn grand this time, and Sandbox are melting. Summit still alive as Ghost also able to get a double so far. Can't dance around this team fight quite well enough. And Nuclear's going to survive, but no! Summit grabs the kill with the empowered shock blast. Top laners, the ones left standing. But DAMWON Gaming pretty happy that it's Noguri this time.
And they wipe out 4 Barons as well and have the ability to push in mid. It's not the lead they want, it's the lead they'll take as everyone in unison applauds. This game still in the balance.
Yeah, Summit wanting to try and fight back here against Noguri, who doesn't have the Hemo Plague or the Flash. Dash Cannon still available. Is about it. Oh man, what a disaster, but what an engage from Canyon.
And you can look at this, take a deep breath and say, what a fiesta, why are they diving 2 turrets? It's because all their comp does is hard engage, and the best way to lose this game is for Zoe, Jace, and the rest to load up on a siege with Baron and take down your base and make this game about the siege. Instead, diving here and going even is DAMWON Gaming slightly nose ahead. It was the right time for a dive. It was pretty close to not coming off, but it's good enough. And that means that Sandbox Gaming lose out on the Baron-empowered minions on anyone that's not Jace.
Well, Ghost actually just got taken down. 4,000 damage in that last team fight. He still has a bounty on his head. This Callista has been able to get a lot of work done so far and is very, very farm. More of Malmortius as well as the QSS, meaning that she's not taking as much damage from the Vladimir as Callistas you may have seen in the past. So still opportunities, still win conditions here for Sandbox, but that Baron has a minute to go. It's only on Summit, and then they have to wait even longer to grab the next one.
I like the build from Ghost as well. A lot of people will say, where's the Rage Blade? But I don't think you can afford to go Rage Blade. It only helps if you're stacking spears, and we already said there's AoE Wombo that's going to zone her out again and again. So yeah, going for more Malmortius, I think that's pretty heads up for this particular game. Ghost walks up to top side.
Very powerful as well.
Run them around, play where you know they can't AoE you down is the Sandbox approach. They've got the acceleration gate. They're trying to jump between lanes. Even the Ghost on Dove is a pretty welcome one to rotate. Yeah. And a run on DAMWON, but I see Noguri and I get scared.
Yep, Canyon World Ender has been popped once again, looking for another one of these engages. It feels like they can just rinse and repeat. Good knock up onto Joker, but that's the only one they're going to get as the Paddle Stars not going to land, but a Trouble Bubble means that Showmaker has to get out, and DAMWON don't find the engage this time.
That's right, they got to kite back. Noguri, after being spotted, knew that with no flash, he couldn't actually make the engage. He doesn't have the Spellbinder this game for the Nikes, and he's not going to be able to proc the Phase Rush that early and in his own base, so he backs away. So hard to kite away from this AoE, but Sandbox, damn, are they going to try? A redemption's not going to be enough. If this Vladimir hits 4 members with Hemo Plague, it's lights out for Sandbox Gaming.
Yeah, they have to be so careful playing around Nogari's position. But with him on the top side of the map, they're going to continue playing around it, and that means a free Mountain Drake goes over to Sandbox. Going to augment their Dragon collection with a second Mountain and an Infernal. And this Baron, they get onto it, it's going to die even faster than the one we saw earlier. And they were able to be so tricky with the way they got out. Joker offering the right lanterns and having OnFleek able just to press W to get over the back wall. Sandbox with their red side Baron plays, feeling pretty good.
50 CS lead in the mid lane, about 40 the 80 carry role, but we already talked about how there was kind of diminishing returns as the item builds went further. Dove can't even find space for a Void Staff this game. Not a lot of magic resist to be picked up, so you can get away with skipping over it for now, but against Galio, you always want to itemize that as soon as possible, and they are really about, let's pick whoever we hit the trouble bubble with. You can't really pick and choose. You got to take whoever's in the front line.
Nogari doesn't have any magic resist in his build, and I feel like Dove's task is to try his very best to land the right trouble bubble on the Vladimir.
Baron respawning in 1 minute, Elder in 4 minutes. All about making the game narrow from DAMWON Gaming, and for Sandbox trying to keep the side lanes where they are. We've never really hit a timing where Vladimir can run at Jace and solo him down. There is no more Unsealed Spellbook Ignite Vladimir.
Yeah, we're not hitting that just yet. But Summit being kept honest here on the bottom side of the map means that vision is available for DAMWON around the Baron Pit. In fact, lots of it surrounding this area, as Hoyt not going to get hit by any of the skill shots out of Sandbox, and now Dove has to flash to get out of the Infernal Chains and does take the True Shot Barrage damage. Teleport from Summit gets him in here, but now they don't have that tool available, and Nogari still has his hook. Is going to land, but it's onto Canyon, not the target that Sandbox wanted, so they deny the engage.
Galio at Hero's entrance range, the only person who's not present here. Nice poke onto Nogari.
And this is what happens. If the Zoe is landing the poke, Sandbox can move further and further forward. If she's not, it's completely the opposite and they get ran over.
In that scenario, ARAM rules apply because we're in the mid lane. That's where the ARAM rules apply. Atlas and Jace and Zoe do the rest. But if the terrain goes away from vision control, if someone walks up too fast, and DAMWON Gaming, the Rakan especially, find the backline, those ARAM rolls are out the window. Speaking of ARAM, Hoyt.
Summit gonna run on forward, does get the leap to the skies, and now Hoyt is in trouble. Accelerated Shock Blast is in there, the quickness, the flash, is able to get himself out. Now Nogari in the backline, Joker comes on down, Ghost dives on top of a Vladimir, not sure whether that's what they wanted to do, but Nogari gets all of his health back. Zhonya's is there, Joker is not, as he's gonna get taken down by Nuclear, and now Summit looking to run away. Dove looking for the poke damage on the disengage, but they don't get it, and DAMWON are the ones that get the pick.
Oh, it's so spicy here. Everything's so close to coming off, but only one person goes down. Hoyt desperately wanted to hold on to his flash, to have that backline engage, to allow the Gargoyle to join, to allow the Vladimir to join. Sandbox, they have high health bars on their carries. They run at Baron. Is there anything DAMWON Gaming can do to stop them?
Well, there's no World Ender available from Canyon here, and now Ghost able to put those sticks in there. Not going to be a true 50-50, and it's just going to be taken. DAMWON Gaming just basically gift a Baron over to Sandbox.
That's what happens in those resting states when AoEs are down, when vision control can't be reestablished. DAMWON Gaming for a second time. Too long on the leash with the Baron. Well claimed by Sandbox. We'll watch the replay. Hoyt had to use his exhaust early. Only reason he supplies the lives through the W there. Meanwhile, the face check and OnFleek apparently doing still big damage on this late game Lee Sin. Nogari can't use his ultimate how he wants to. Nothing comes off. It feels like DAMWON Gaming stubbed their toes a couple of times. They get a kill, but as we know afterwards, the spoilers are, they lose the Baron, and Sandbox Gaming, if they don't get a hard engage from DAMWON, might actually be able to get that siege up to take the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And Joker actually whiffed everything that he had access to in that last fight, so maybe it would have been a different story if some of the knockups had have come in. However, wasn't the case. Sandbox still make it out of there and pick up that Baron like you were talking about, health bar advantage. What's important here, feels like it's been a 4,000 gold lead for the last 20 minutes of this game. And that should be suiting DAMWON. Sandbox is still picking up these Barons.
And it's just so hard to talk about these games because the meta is so different than it used to be years ago. If this was played with tank junglers and the vision that was available with Tracker's Knife, it would be a fiesta. Because we're seeing so many fights that are 50-50 and execution being important. But this is the meta that was introduced, and with face check.
The face check from OnFleek does have the Guardian Angel, remember, and is going to get taken down to it as Noguri wants to get the team fight, goes into the Sanguine pool, gets a good Tides of Blood, but has the Zhonya's there as well. The Vlad is still alive, and that means that this is going to be a DAMWON team fight. Joker the first one to go down, but Dove able to nail a lot of that damage, but Ghost has been CC'd. Now down to his Guardian Angel. Summit can't get the work done. Finally, the Vlad will fall, and now Ghost is bouncing around the fight. Gets the double in the end, and Nuclear wants to get it. The auto's not enough, and Ghost survives. Sandbox somehow win a miracle team fight and get the ace.
They outplay them. They're excellent skirmishing on the back end. A crazy fight. Sandbox Gaming, with those death timers, they're going to win.
Absolutely everything that needed to go right went right for DAMWON. The Vladimir stayed alive for absolutely way longer than he needed to, but Sandbox just danced around the hero's entrance. Stunning stuff here, and Ghost on 6 items makes the Kalista look like a deadly late-game threat, and they will win the game and take the series.
There's good starts to the season for a promoted team, and there's 5-0. The 5-0 confirmed. They go in undefeated till the time they face Griffin later this week.
And look at how excited they are as well, finally getting some redemption against a team that was certainly with the winning record over Sandbox in DWG Gaming in Challenger before this. They promoted alongside one another, but it was a rougher road in that promotion series for this Sandbox squad. However, what matters is the LCK, and what has happened is a 5-0 start for this Sandbox squad. Fantastic stuff. It was one of the longest pauses that we've had so far, but goes that man on your screen right there, able to pull it back together. Oh man. So many things going wrong, so many opportunities for DWG to find their way back into that last game. But Sandbox just seemed to be able to play around their win conditions with their compositions so well.
And amazingly, it actually amplifies the achievement because we can all feel, because of the long pause, how late that felt. It was the late game, but it was also very long into the time after minions spawned in. And because of that, you can really feel what they achieved coming back in what was a stacked deck. Felt like the ace was up the sleeve in Noguri's Vladimir on the side of DWG Gaming. But their vision control could never be overturned. There was never a vision lead, so it was always reaching when Rakan went in. You actually felt the Rakan nurse. You felt the unreliability of making those engages and getting the wombo down. It never was dotting your I's and crossing your T's with the Vladimir comp. And Sandbox Gaming, bless their hearts, they will go 5-0. They do fight back in what feels like at the end an upset based on comps in games number 3. In the end, the overall expected team to win, the 4-0 team, go 5-0. And now we dare to dream about what the series against Griffin might look like later this week.
And of course, Griffin now going to be up against SKT tomorrow. And it might be, if SKT can perform what has been unperformable up against Griffin, that Sandbox are higher on the ladder against Griffin on Saturday.
And you just felt real 2019 League of Legends. Again, like, you can say Fiesta and you're not wrong about how this game played out, because it's about fights. But the reason that the meta tended towards Fiesta is less vision, less reliability. You need to try things. They win a team fight where Lee Sin gives over his health bar for free and doesn't even get an ultimate out of the enemy because Lee Sin actually let them know where all the enemy pieces on the battlefield were and allowed them to out-skirmish. Those are the sort of weird scenarios that are brought in by the 2019 meta. It's why Fiesta is both true and untrue, because the game is so much less reliable. You need to take the 60% play, even in the late game, and there's a real reason why the old names of KT and Genji are losing, because they are always against looking past the 60% play. They don't go for the risky. They always try to make the 85. In the late game, it ended up being a real roll of the dice. A pure face check against 6-item Vladimir won them the game. That will be more often the story than actually not the story in 2019.
Yeah, and also not being scared to instantly pull the trigger. The Sandbox squad, they do not hold back. And right here, these teleports come down when it was looking like just a clean pick onto Ghost, and then DWG wasn't going to get anything. Instead, it becomes a pick for Sandbox instead.
But then Summit went top lane and was 30 CS down on the Vladimir. He lost his big lead, and you said, okay, was it worth it? And we didn't know till very late in the game what was worth it and what was not. It was still up in the air, and we thought DAMWON had done enough, but there were so many moments that could have gone titanically one way or the other that ended up way even. Look at this team fight. Looks like an AoE Wombo Fest. No, actually ends up being super even between DAMWON Gaming and Sandbox. There was no punishment. They never actually got to pummel Sandbox into the ground like they could so easily in game number 2. And then when it was close, when it was half a Teemo, Ghost skips away, and in the end, so does the match victory for DWG Gaming.
Oh, I just don't understand how he managed to survive in this last fight. Does eventually go down in the end, but that's after his 2 assassins, his 2 would-be assassins, were destroyed for it. Oh my goodness, just some really, really beautiful individual play from Sandbox, but that was Hoyt having the opposite experience on the Rakan.
He shorts it, and yet they win the team fight easily because this is what you want.
Yeah.
The threats are under the Hemo play, gotta respect the tides of blood. Turn on anyone in the front line, you're dead for free. That's what they were trying to create at the end, but let's wait for the final replay. This was them having to dive into turrets to clean out Baron. I actually think this was worth. This is not a Fiesta decision. This is a hard decision that many good teams wouldn't make. Well, they have Baron, so let's wait it out. No, they are a siege team with Baron. That is their main win condition, taking down inhibitors for free. Right time to dive ends up being a 4-for-4 that goes the way of DWG Gaming because of that extra variable. But here's the replay. Onflake gives up his GA and life instantly. Doesn't even get an ultimate out of the enemy team, but it allows them to know where the enemy is, and watch how the fight plays out. You think it's going to be fine, but Nuclear is out for a while, and it's just a really technical fight where, most importantly, Ghost, the person who had the most to think about, didn't have that much to think about, could weave in and out, goes down to GA, but there's always another carry darting into the front line. Onflake assassinating Vladimir in the back line. It's oh so close when it's on execution rather than comp, and Sandbox 60-40 in the execution. They pick up the victory, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Nuclear just couldn't get enough damage done in those team fights, and look at that. The top laners have been the story of today, topping the damage as we would expect. Not even Nuclear able to match the damage of the Vladimir. Noguri still had a great performance, but look at how close this game was. It was a 9,000 gold lead in the end for Sandbox, but 18-17 in kills, 46-50 in the assists. What a treat for game number 3. I know we had a lot of lead up to this, a gigantic pause, but I think it delivered in the end.
It was definitely a really interesting one. Right to the end, a nail biter between DWG and Sandbox. I think Sandbox's form and DWG's losses led into the nail biter. I wasn't sure what to see today, and I didn't expect the full 3-game series that was so close in game number 3, especially because game number 2 was an assassination. So credit to Sandbox for keeping their wits around them. Very hard to reset your mental, both after game 2 and then after a long pause. That part was really tricky. They just about keep it going. That means the 5-0 is confirmed for Sandbox Game.
Yeah, so 2 undefeated teams remain in the LCK. Griffin are going to be playing again tomorrow. That's going to be against SKT. But MVP will be revealed to us. I'm not entirely sure who it goes to here on the side of Sandbox, but Ghost is going to pick it up. I thought maybe he died a few too many times, but 90% kill contribution and a 749. He's going to grab it and move up to 400, evening things out with Tarzan and Clit at the top of the table.
This was a really hard game to play Kalista, so I think that's why the voters have gone for Ghost, because this was the game, well, you mentioned, if you go for a pretty stock standard build in other games into the Rage Blade, I think you just never get value out of your items. You needed every item here to stay alive and also to be hopping mad in team fights. This last team fight, where things were tricky, able to just about get over, but it required a huge assistance. Summit, Dove, these were the Zoes and Jaces in team fights that you need, not the ones that sometimes you receive. Fascinating game between Sandbox and DWG, and like you say, some great team fight Lee Sin in the late game from Onflake.
Yeah, exactly, and I like the team fight. Jace coming out as well from Summit, diving into the backline, doing so much damn damage. Sandbox are turning into one of my favorite teams in the LCK, and I can understand why they're building up a fan base here. Of course, it was dominated by DAMWON in the audience, but now it's all the Sandbox fans that get the relief. Speaking of which, let's throw it over to Ji-Sun for some translation of the MVP.
Thank you very much, guys. We're going to be joined by Summit and Ghost from Sandbox Gaming. How do you feel right now, Summit? So we're on the first place. It's so unreal. So I can't believe it.
고스트 선수는요?
What about you, Ghost?
솔직히 이번 시즌에서
To be honest,
제일 힘들었던 경기가 오늘이었던 것 같거든요.
It was the toughest game so far.
그렇고 경기 내적으로
About the draft, the in-game plays, and outside the game. It was really struggling. There were a lot of problems, so it was really struggling for me. But I think my mentality was the key for picking up the victory.
자, 1경기 보시면 오르고 갈리오
Game 1.
하향이 됐는데도 불구하고
So you guys first pick Urgot and Galio in the situation where both were nerfed so bad. We still believe that those are good champions even though they are nerfed.
네, 상대적으로 오르고 갈리오는 너프가 좀 덜 됐다라는 평가가 있고 그 외에 챔피언들도
Well, some people
있잖아요.
may
그
say
외에
they are less
챔피언들도
nerfed, but there are a lot of champions that is nerfed as well. Or you have any plans to use them also?
활용 가치가
Yes, we do.
생각을 하시는 거죠.
We still think that those
자,
top
후반부에서
tier champions are still good in
상대
9.2
넥서스까지
patch.
갈리오와 오르곤만 살아있던 상황이
And
있었어요.
game 1,
이때
in the
조커
very
선수의
late stage of
갈리오가
game,
희생을 했는데 알고
Galio and
계셨죠?
Urgot was the only one left and retreating from the enemy nexus, but Joker actually sacrificed for you. He told me to, you go first, I'll just die here.
너는 빨리 가라고.
It was like a
네,
movie.
그렇게 해서 오르곤이 살아간 장면이 있었습니다.
He saved my life.
자, 그리고 두 번째 경기는 생각만큼 잘 풀리지 않았습니다.
But game
레넥톤은
2
히든 카드로
wasn't
준비를
really that
하셨는데
easy.
상대가
Actually,
캔이
DAMWON picked up a
나왔어요.
victory.
어땠나요?
How was Kennen versus Renekton matchup?
완전 큰일 났구나.
Well, I knew that I was in trouble.
많이 맞았습니다.
I knew that he was gonna punch me so bad.
알겠습니다. 자, 그리고 세 번째 경기 얘기를 해보겠습니다.
But
우리
let's
고스트
move on to game
선수가
3.
엄청난 활약을
Ghost,
보여줬습니다.
you were dominating
오늘
the whole
실기로
game.
정말 여러 번 살아나가셨는데요.
There were
조일
so
구원까지
many
합해진 그 전령한
Situation
한타도
where you
있었고요.
managed to
또
survive in
마지막
such a
한타
low health.
정말 인상적이었는데요. 그때 어떤 콜이 있었나요?
So what was going on at the very last team fight?
아무것도 생각이 안 나고요. 그냥
I cannot remember
일단
any of
제
the
눈앞에
calls at
토끼하면서
that
다
moment.
때리자.
I was trying
생각으로
my best to
끝까지
dodge all the
때렸어요.
skills and sidestep and hit as
근데
many as
이제
I
피가
can.
줄어들면서 뺄 수도 있다는 판단을 하셨을 수도 있는데
Well, you could have just
끝까지
backed up
가신
when
이유는
your
뭘까요?
health bar was so low, but you were just going all in for the
저희가
fights.
조합이 좀 더 안 좋다고 생각해서 여기서 슈브를 가야 된다 생각해서
Well, our draft
네.
was not as good as the
여기서
DWG
끝장내야
Gaming's
된다 해서
draft,
일단
so
안
I had
그래도
this thought in
그렇게
my mind that we have to finish this fight over here. We shouldn't just let them have the time.
블라디가 너구리 선수가 전승 중인데 열어준 이유가 좀 궁금해요.
And game 3, you guys opened Vladimir to Nuguri, which is his 100% win rate champion.
어떻게 의도하진 않았는데 어떻게 그렇게 됐고.
We actually didn't intend it, it just somehow ended it.
게임에서만 잘해보자
that way.
한것 같아요. 네.
아, 블라디를
So let's
처음부터
just-
열어주려고
we're just trying to
생각했던 건 아니고.
네,
Fight
네.
our best against his Vladimir.
과정 중에서 열렸고 너구리 선수가 그대로 가져간 그런 상황이었다고 합니다. 자, 1위 너무
You guys are on the first place, still undefeated.
다음 경기 준비되어 있는데요. 다음
Your next
경기가
opponent will be
그리핀전입니다.
Griffin.
이제 진정한 1위를 가리는
And
그런
the
시간이
real
될
number
텐데
one will
각오 한
be
말씀 부탁드립니다.
find out that day.
그리핀도 이제 저희가
Griffin,
이제
they're also
다 강팀이고
undefeated, they're really strong.
하나라고 생각하는데 정말 센 팀이라고 생각하는데 역시나 또 잘 준비해서
We're gonna prepare hard,
재밌고
just as always.
좋은
we're gonna
경기
be
보여줄 수
back with
있도록 노력하겠습니다.
Exciting
혹시 레넥톤
series.
같은 픽도 나올까요?
And your Renekton's?
다시는 안 할 것 같아요.
Never again.
네, 알겠습니다. 고스트 선수.
And Ghost, you wanna add on to that?
저희 이제 지금까지 다 잡고 최종 보스만 남았는데
So we had the final boss
저희
here.
정말 준비 열심히 해서
We're gonna prepare and
경기
do our
결과
best
이기면 물론 좋겠지만
to pick up
정말
the best
재밌는
results.
경기
I mean,
보여드리도록
it will be really nice to pick up a victory, but we just want to make sure to come back with exciting and amazing game.
파이팅 하시고요. 자신
I'll be keep
있으시죠?
cheering for you guys
네, 알겠습니다. 인터뷰
hope to see you
감사드리고요.
guys
저희
performing
같이
awesome
안녕하면서 끝낼게요.
at the very
여러분
at your
감사합니다.
next Griffin match.
안녕.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much, Ji-sun, for the translation. That was a really cute little
I
wave in the
know.
end there. I didn't quite know whether we were coming back, and now we are. So thankfully that is the case. We get to talk a little bit more about such a cool team to find their way into the LCK. Keep everyone honest with their early plays and also really tight team fighting in the mid to late game. So Sandbox, I welcome our new overlords.
And it goes from kind of the little train that could to now you're actually putting together some pretty significant scalps.
Yeah.
A very respectable team that seems right now entrenched in terms of top 5. You can't really give any faith to teams that have been up and down when this team has largely been on the up and has some fixable mistakes. A lot of their macro mistakes in the early series have largely gone away. They've been better and better. You made use of their double Mountain Drake into fast Baron timings while the enemy was a little bit too slow on the Baron contests, and Baron contests are one of the big things for DAMWON to really VOD review in game number 3, but now it's going to be about a 30-minute break, and we got more League of Legends.
Yep, we certainly do. Jinna are going to be taking on a Freak of Freaks after the break, and it's already getting pretty late. Hopefully we can spend the rest of the evening with you